Well, everybody, are you ready for next week? Oh man, it is going to be an event. If you haven't been paying attention, if you haven't heard about this, you need to be watching this. Next week, Putin, Russia, China, the BRICS nations, they finally have their summit happening next week, and this is going to be a big one, folks. Now, look, there are a lot of implications for what's going to happen here, but it's been very well rumored that next week they're basically going to announce their own currency backed by gold. Oh, folks, this could very well be the end of the US dollar, and hopefully you have been preparing for this. And you might even ask me, well, John, how do we prepare for this? Well, how I've been preparing for this is doing things like buying the actual physical gold right here and buying a little bit of silver, which I have right here. And I've explained this before, folks. It's not that the money that I'm putting into this sort of thing, it's not that the value of it actually increases. It's the fact that the dollar itself is being diluted, so therefore it just costs more money to actually purchase the actual physical unit itself. And have you been paying attention? Have you seen the price of gold? It has reached all-time highs. We're talking historical all-time highs. Now, I actually thought that when Saudi Arabia, this is just, 3 months ago, I actually thought that Saudi Arabia, when they got off the petrodollar, I thought that was going to be the upset. In the end, look, there was no media or hardly any media about that. This one, however, could make waves. Now, it's a question. We've got this election coming up. This is cuckoo craziness with what's going on with the election. They are suppressing so much of what's going on here. However, I don't know that they're going to be able to get away from the fact that all these BRICS nations, everybody's switching over. What are the implications of this? That is something even myself I've been trying to decipher as well. All I can say is this is I myself and any of the advice that I've given, and I am by no means any financial expert, hard assets is what you need to be purchasing more than anything. So that could be, property, physical gold, even artwork, things like that. These are things that over time have stood the test of time. That being said, what I'm expecting next week is after this announcement, I have a feeling that your $2,600 US an ounce gold is probably going to just shoot through the roof at $3,000. Now, look, it's pure speculation. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I will say this much. And having gone through 2008 and having, weathered that not in a great way, there's opportunity all the time when there's ups and downs. In fact, a lot of the financial people that I follow too, they're even looking at this as an opportunity to jump in so long as you have your money on the sidelines, ready to jump in and take advantage of people. There's going to be people who are absolutely distressed. And well, I hate to say it, folks, but in many ways, that is exactly how rich people get richer. And in fact, if you even, my prediction of what's happening in Florida, what's been happening in Florida with all the hurricanes that just happened recently, I would hedge bet that what's going to happen is these people who own these properties are going to give them up for cheap. And then you're going to have a company like BlackRock swoop in and get this property for pennies on a dollar, and then ultimately build whatever on it and then rent to people, which is really the World Economic Forum's idea of, you'll own nothing and like it or whatever you're going to do. But what a farce that is. That being said, what I'm seeing in all of this, and this is again an armchair prediction. I've had many conversations with people about what's going on. What does this mean biblically? Well, my first comment is to say, well, if not now, when? And what I mean by that is, folks, if we are not at the precipice of the rapture of the church, entering into this 7-year tribulation, I don't know when, because the number one thing that I see right in this moment is the black horse. I mean, the whole stage is set right now. The black horse of Revelation 6 is set up right now to where it's economic turmoil globally. This is part of God's judgment on earth. And if you understand Revelation, I personally believe that the church, the remnant church, will not be here for that judgment. I want to address something here. This is pure speculation. I hope you're still listening with me, and I'm going to go off on a little bit of a rant here, but this is actually very important because I've had people ask me, prophetic timeline, John, what do you think? Well, it's a guess, but here's how I see things playing out. It is very much like God, in my experience, it is very much like God to basically show a comparison and contrast of good versus evil. Now imagine if Trump gets into office and in a very, very short period of time, and see, I think this is why this deep state and these globalists are petrified of what's going to happen here. I think that in a very short time, Trump could turn all of this around very quickly, even with the dollar just going kaput. That being said, I think what could happen is, imagine if all of a sudden everyone has jobs, if everyone has money now, if all of a sudden there's this massive, very, very quick turnaround, what that would do for people who are on the fence, or even possibly these cuckoo crazy, except the hardcore crazy Democrats, what could possibly happen is they would actually say, oh my gosh, yeah, Trump, we don't like him, but my gosh, he's doing some great stuff for the country. Maybe. And then boom, rapture the church, and then it all goes haywire. Now, here's the reason why I say this. It's a complete prediction, but we all need to be looking at what's happening in Israel right now. And folks, it's getting like prophetic. Like absolutely prophetic with what's happening with Iran. And here it is, Russia just last week, they backed Iran even further. Here we are, Matthew 24, wars and rumors of war going on here. Well, what I'm actually predicting here is that this could be the fulfillment in the very near future. We may see this, the Isaiah 17 prophecy of the total destruction of Damascus overnight. In my opinion, what I'm seeing happening is I think Israel will be the one who actually launches nukes on Damascus. It will cause the entire globe to just gasp and just, it will be an unbelievable thing. Somewhere in the mix of this, maybe even the rapture of the church happens during that time, possibly, I don't know. But wouldn't that be something for the Antichrist then to basically step in and say, oh, we can't have this. We need to bring peace. He will present this peace plan, probably the Abraham Accords, if it's at least in this timeline. They will reaffirm the Abraham Accords with these nations. And this Antichrist will come in and say, Israel, I will protect you. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about your enemies. Because think about this, there's got to be a time of peace in Israel. That's not now. That's not happening right now. So the Antichrist then comes in and says, Israel, I will protect you. By the way, as a caveat of part of my protection, you have to give up your nuclear weapons. Now, folks, this is very important why I'm bringing this up. It's a very important point, but just follow me. So at that point, it lowers the tension in the Middle East. Antichrist also says, oh, by the way, Israel, you also can build your third temple. No problem. Imagine what would happen with all of that. It's very possible then during that time. See, I used to be of the mindset too. We still haven't seen Ezekiel 38 and 39. I'm of the mindset now. I'm believing it's possible that fulfillment where God comes down and tries to take over Israel, I'm believing that is actually going to happen during the 7-year tribulation. And here's the reason why. There needs to be peace in the region, needs to be peace in Israel. That's what is described in Ezekiel 38 and 39. Israel just doesn't see it coming. And not only that, when God comes down with their armies from all over, this coalition of armies that come in, it's very clear that God is the one who gets the glory, not anywhere else. And think about this. If Israel has nuclear missiles to defend itself, then who gets the glory? Well, it's Israel. It's very important that I believe Israel has to be disarmed at this point for them to understand, oh my, and I don't know what it's going to be. I mean, it could be a weather event. It could be an earthquake. It could be all sorts of things of however God is going to orchestrate this. But in Ezekiel 38 and 39, it is very clear that God is the one who comes to the rescue of Israel, not anyone else, not the United States, not anyone else. And who knows where the U.S. is at that point? I don't know. It's not spoken of. That being said, it's starting to kind of shape up and make sense. And I believe that it actually is going to be something that happens within that first 3 years of tribulation. Because again, Israel just, talk of a time of peace, and Israel doesn't see it coming. And if anything, I think that's also what starts to wake Israel up to realizing who God is and who their Savior truly is. Oh, folks, that is my prediction of the day. That is, oh my gosh, deep thoughts by John for the week, for the month. And folks, that is maybe my message of the day for, I hope you're still with me following all this. Folks, the point of all of this is don't worry. God is in control of all this. And when I see all these things happen, I get pretty excited. I also prepare myself for things of all this crazy nature going on. In fact, I'm working on even a new business idea right now that I will talk about in the future. And pray for me too. Please pray for me that business thing goes off. I should have mentioned that even at the beginning of this video because it's coming with resistance, and I think the enemy just does not want me to succeed in this. But that being said, I know that if this does succeed, I am going to be able to do way more videos just like this one on a much more regular basis, that is my goal with what I'm doing today. So please pray for me. That being said, folks, I would appreciate it if you would like this video. If you like what I do and you haven't yet, please subscribe to this video and turn on the notifications and all that good stuff. And that way I can at least hopefully present more content to you. And again, as I said, on a hopefully more regular basis. Folks, that'll be it today. And I do hope to see you all next time.